Hello, everybody, and thank you for attending our sixth annual Aphasia Conference. This year, it is Ongoing Journey Living with Aphasia. My name is Denise Lowell. I am the president and founder of Just Ask. I am so happy that I've been able to continue this for the past 6 years. We are able to do this free due to, like Ben said, our sponsor from Rhode Island Department of Health. They've been supporting us for over the past few years, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to continue to do this free. Why it's important for it to be free is that anybody with having a drastic change in your life or your care partner and not knowing about this thing called aphasia, it is really challenging to not know and how to improve, get better, and know what is going on with your life. So I didn't think anybody should ever have to pay to learn more. So I am so happy that because all these people do sponsor and they donate, we also have our donation team. We have our fundraiser team. We have people that attend the fundraisers. And of course, we have so many people that help to volunteer to make this happen, especially my board members. And what else did I want to add? Again, I do have aphasia. I have improved over the years tremendously. My speech is almost right on, still have some challenges with word finding, but the behind the scenes that I still have challenging with is the reading and writing. So again, I encourage anybody to never give up, because after almost 9 years and I'm still improving. So if you have a care partner and you don't think improvement is possible, shame on you. We can get better. It's just a lot of work. At this point, I would like to let people know about a couple other programs we currently do. We run the Aphasia Social Network Group, which is in every Monday night Zoom format, held with a facilitated by a speech pathologist, Kate Moses. We also have a care partner group once a month, which is supervised and facilitated by Elaine McDonald from the Veterans Hospital, and the Rhode Island Hospital work together to make this happen. We also run educational programs, and all the resources that we have and share with all of you is on our website. And I am happy to say in the future here in Rhode Island, we are looking forward to have an in-person group. So stay tuned for any of that new information coming. And now, without any other delay, I would like to introduce this amazing person who is an amazing care partner. And I'm happy to say she's my friend, Carol. Take it away.
Thanks, Denise. And I really want to say a big thank you to Just Ask. You know, she is a person with aphasia who started a nonprofit to really make a difference. And Denise, you're doing a great job. So be sure to take a look at the resources that Denise and her team are doing. Denise and I also are on a couple of research projects together, and her experience and background in social work and mental health, and my background is psychology. Really, it's not always just about aphasia being a language disorder. I often say aphasia, it's really a life disorder because it impacts you in so many ways. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my slides. The Aphasia Care Partner Journey. So, hello, my name is Carol Dow-Richards, and I started my aphasia journey as a care partner. I'm David's mom, and he had a stroke. My mom had a stroke, my dad did, my mother-in-law, my brother, and last year, my husband. So I know the care partner journey quite well. Let's get started. So, first of all, welcome. David's stroke was in 1995, so it's quite a while ago. And I did want to share, if there are any of you watching this video that, like David, have aphasia, this video may go a little too fast, But if you're interested in the content, you can always watch it on YouTube, slow it down, and repeat what needs to be repeated. So it's really designed for care partners and related professionals. But again, if you have aphasia and you want to watch, you are welcome. Sometimes it's nice to know what your care partners, what your loved ones are also facing today. So today is a webinar, and like any webinar, I know you're watching this because you're hoping to get value. Your time has value. So I encourage you to take some notes or screenshots of anything that you find of value. And as we go through the presentation, take time to reflect and ponder the content so that it actually does have value. By the end of the webinar today, I hope you know what your key takeaways are. Everyone is different, so some things you'll relate to, other things maybe not. So as you listen, think about what are your key takeaways and what would you like to write down in your notes? What changes would improve your life or the life of the person that you love? So we'll be looking at ideas and resources as we go through the content. And by the end of it, I hope you do have a plan of action, a goal, a plan, and action. So let's get started. So again, this is for caregivers and care partners. What's the difference? They're the same thing, but there is a difference. So a caregiver gives care. The word caregiver loads all of the responsibility on one person, the giver. It may imply that your loved one is a patient. It replaces your role as a partner to a caregiver, and this identity can impact the relationship and sense of self of both of you. But the word care partner assumes a care partner partners in the care. Care partners share the journey. The word partner focuses on the teamwork of both of you. This word makes the person with aphasia a partner on this journey. So you might want to keep in mind the mindset of I am a care partner. This mindset shift often results in better relationships. It doesn't weigh you down quite as much. Your loved one is a partner, not a patient. And this is powerful to their sense of self. Build on their strengths, not on their weaknesses. The goal is their independence, not dependence on you. This also helps avoid the sense of learned helplessness in your loved one. And we know it takes two to tango. So I love the word care partner. You're in this together. Dr. Audrey Holland, who has now passed away, but she shared with me this quote: if you meet one person with aphasia, you met one. So keep in mind, every one of you listening is different. Some of you have loved ones that are doing fairly well, maybe even working. Others of you, maybe not. So there's lots of differences. No two are alike. Aphasia is very different. Some are working or had their aphasia when they were retired. Some are living in a home care facility. Some of you are spouses. Some of you are adult children. Or maybe you're a parent of someone who has aphasia, like me.
We often face this journey unprepared, it's unpredictable, and sadly, we often feel unsupported. So, our agenda today is we're going to look at 1, the impact of aphasia, 2, managing stress, and 3, some resources. At the end, we'll have a Q&A on the live session of this webinar. So, we're going to listen, learn, and plan to take action steps. I hope you have a pen and paper ready, so you're ready to make some changes. And you might want to start with writing down that word, care partner. You're a partner, not a caregiver. So let's talk about the impact of aphasia. Well, you all know this really well, but there is physical and emotional impact. There's a lot of physical care. Maybe you're doing a lot of extra lifting or helping someone get dressed. Then there's all the personal affairs, paying the bills, managing the schedule. Then there's all the household tasks. So maybe life was shared with 2, and now, even though you share your lives, a lot of extra tasks may fall on you. Sometimes people feel that there's a role reversal. So maybe your husband used to do all the finances. He was the one in charge. He was the outgoing, gregarious one. And maybe you don't know the finances, or you were the quiet, supportive partner. And now you're expected to manage everything that he did, as well as start to manage your social lives and whatnot. So sometimes we feel there's a role reversal for some people. So sometimes we ask ourselves, who am I? Because not only did the identity of your loved one probably change quite a bit, we as care partners also sometimes wonder, who am I? Because we woke up one day and rather than our lives as they were, they suddenly changed. And that can impact our identity as care partners. It may impact us with job loss of either the person with aphasia or the care partner. And then there can be financial consequences. So, are we starting to see the impact of aphasia is pretty big? But hang on, we're going to look at resources. Right now, you're probably already feeling, this is so overwhelming. Yes, it is, but you are not alone. Another impact of aphasia, as you know, is the lack of aphasia awareness. This can sometimes create some stigma or even embarrassment. We know that for people who have had strokes or a brain injury, we know that aphasia impacts their language, not their intellect. So it's confusing when we go in public and other people don't get that. So sometimes we feel a sense of stigma or embarrassment. We might start to fear of social situations, and it's hard to get out of our comfort zone and try new things as we risk failure. We don't have the supports in place, and society doesn't either. Then there's often the impact of lack of training. There's a lack of understanding strategies to support communication at home or in the community. And then you're probably feeling like you're being the driver, the scheduler, the medicine manager, the insurance manager, the cheerleader, the cook, the cleaner, the bill payer, and more. Sometimes you may wake up feeling like you're being 2 people at once. Then there's the impact of lack of available support or a substitute if you need a day off, or if you were ever hospitalized and unable to care for your loved one. So that leads us with a lot of fear. What if something happens to me? So that's the impact of aphasia. Well, obviously, if we're dealing with all of that, that's a really heavy load, then there's a lot of emotional impact. There are consequences of that, and there are a lot of ripple effects. We may feel chronic stress. We may feel anxiety. We may feel depression. We may feel overwhelmed. We may have sleep issues. We may have a sense of grief. So, how do we manage all of that stress? A lot is weighing on our shoulders. So often we focus on the person with aphasia. But this webinar really is designed to focus on you. Let's face it, aphasia impacts both of you, and it's a lot for you to handle. But you are not alone, and I'm delighted that you're spending time to learn more, because we all need support and we all need each other. You are not alone. So, as we look at some building blocks of support for care partners, we want to talk about how do you build some of that foundation. So, it's not easy, but it is doable. But sometimes it just takes a lot of time. So one of my tips is always see the person with aphasia first. Not as my loved one is a patient, but my loved one is they're still David. They're still Susie. They're still the same person on the inside. So, one of our goals today is that we will start to aim for better coping skills. So, again, I hope that you're taking some notes, and we'll talk about some ways that we cope. We can aim to learn strategies to reduce frustration and stress for both of you. I've got to be honest, I have met hundreds of care partners. And sometimes people don't want to take the time to learn the strategies. They're so overwhelmed that it's like one more thing to manage. But learning the strategies really does reduce stress, reduce frustration for you and your loved one. You can find strength in sharing your journey with other care partners who are on the same journey as you are. So, Aphasia Recovery Connection has a wonderful site on Facebook. Not only the main site that we have, which is Aphasia Recovery Connection, we have both a page and a group, but a lot of people don't know that we have an ARC Care Partners and Friends site. And there is a great place to find strength in sharing your experience with others who are on the same journey. So sometimes we start to feel guilty, like we're not doing enough and it's just way too hard. And that's normal, but we have to forgive ourselves and reject guilt. We do the best we can to put one foot in front of the other. It's helpful to expect a better tomorrow. With realistic planning, to move forward on this journey. There's a saying for people with aphasia that have had a stroke or injury, and it is your first day of aphasia is your worst day with aphasia. People with aphasia can and do improve with time, but it is a painfully slow journey. But you can expect a better tomorrow with realistic planning. So, planning is your attempt to move forward on the journey together with your partner. So, you want to create a plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So, what is your strategy for moving forward? What are your goals for moving forward? What is your plan for moving forward? So, let's look at some care partner goals. One may be to give yourself time to rest, time to reflect, time to recharge, and time to regroup. Right now, you're probably feeling really overwhelmed. So take a deep breath and remember, you need to give yourself time and patience. Rest, reflect, recharge, and regroup. Now, I hear you. You're probably saying, I don't have time for that. Let's go on an airplane ride. What do they say when the oxygen mask may come down? Put the oxygen on yourself first. All too often, we as care partners don't allow ourselves that time. And we start to really burn out. And when we burn out, the impact and that ripple effect of all of those emotional events like stress and anxiety and trouble sleeping start to creep in. So give yourself time to rest, reflect, recharge, and regroup, and don't feel guilty when you need to do that. Get support. Get support from family and friends. If you need support for anxiety or depression, talk to your doctor. I myself always felt, my background is psychology, and I always thought, well, I can do this. I must do this. And for me, I felt that asking my doctor for help was somehow another reflection on my own failure to be able to cope. And it wasn't till maybe 3 years in that I finally talked to my doctor about it. I wish I had talked to him earlier. So if you need help, talk to your doctor. It's also really helpful to find support groups. I mentioned the Aphasia Recovery Connection support group for care partners, but if there is a local support group in your community, please check it out. If you're not sure if there is a support group in your community, you can go to the National Aphasia Association website. They have a wonderful finder where you can put in your town and your zip code, and you can put in the box what you're looking for. So are you looking for a support group? Are you looking for a therapist? That's a wonderful tool. Again, that's with the National Aphasia Association. Next, it's important to reevaluate realistically what you can and cannot do. So the key word here is realistically. So as care partners, we have to think about what are the real priorities? What are the things I must do? What are the things I want to do? And what are some things that could go on the back burner with a maybe someday priority? Taking time for yourself is not selfish. Recharging is self-care. A walk, a fresh air, a chat with an old friend. So ask for help. So you might be thinking, well, that's really, really hard. I wouldn't know how to do that. Sometimes we don't have the oomph to reach out, but it's really important that we do. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you and your husband used to hang out with another couple, and you've sort of drifted apart, but you're good friends. Reach out and say to the other wife, say something like, hey, I was just thinking it'd be great to have a cup of coffee. I have missed you so much. Is there any way that your husband could come over and maybe the two guys could work on, I don't know, maybe doing a puzzle? And you and I could sit on the front porch and have coffee or go out for coffee. Sometimes our friends want to help, they don't know how to help. Sometimes they're actually delighted that you called and you set up an idea, a parameter, something that will work for you, something that will work for your loved one, because often they're clueless. They don't know how to offer help. So ask for help. Don't be shy. Pick up the phone or text and ask for help. So my son had his stroke way back in 1995. He was only 10, and his stroke happened while we were on a family vacation. He was in the hospital for 3 months. He was unable to speak, to read, to write, to understand. He couldn't do math, and he was paralyzed. As you can see by the photo, he was paralyzed from the top of his head to the tip of his toes. So even his face and eye were paralyzed. Fast forward to today, many years later. Today, David talks and reads and writes. He walks. He still has troubles with his legs, but he does walk, and he still is paralyzed in his right arm. Aphasia still affects him on his day-to-day life, but David lives independently and lives a very independent life. One doctor told me to put him in a nursing home, which of course we did not do, and he went to therapy for 15 years. We really created strategies, we created a goal, we created a vision, and we acted on that plan. I can't imagine where David would be today if we didn't make a plan. Now, one of the things that is true is we were lucky that David was so young. David's aphasia was really significant, as you can see by the huge stroke that he had. He had global aphasia. But one of the things that was valuable to him was his age. So even though he was going to speech therapy for 15 years, the first 5 years, he still struggled a lot to read. In fact, he couldn't really read. And he couldn't spell and he couldn't write, even 4 and 5 years later. And his speech was very halting and what I would call telegraphic. And then he went through puberty. And he went through puberty at a time where he was at a private school that had 5 full-time speech pathologists and only 80 students. So it was like being in intensive aphasia therapy right when his brain was going through puberty. So David has had a lot of recovery. So going back to that beginning when he was only 10, at a certain point, I had to admit I can't do it all. And there may come a point you need to say that too. I cannot do it all. So what I did is I recruited help. So I had one of my friends, I asked her, David loved to bake cookies or bake brownies. And I asked her, would you come over once a week and just bake cookies with David so he's socializing with somebody other than me? I also asked another friend if she would be so kind to pick up groceries for me once a week of just the staples. It would really, really be helpful. Another one of my friends who I did not recruit, but she started to come in and help with laundry. So if you need help, sometimes we just have to ask for help. Even if your family doesn't want to help, sometimes we need to let them know, I need help and I can't do this alone. So please, will you help me? Another thing that I did was I got rid of the shoulds. So what does that mean? Well, I might have told myself, because this is the way life was before, I used to send out great holiday cards and handwritten messages. So I might tell myself, I should send out the holiday cards this year, and I should write a long handwritten message in every card. Well, maybe not. Sometimes I had to get rid of my shoulds and say, well, that's going to really weigh on me. So what could I do differently? Well, maybe I just send an email to my friends and include some pictures. Or maybe you always buy great gifts for the grandkids and you wrap them and you spend a lot of time and you love doing that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But if it's going to overwhelm you, instead of saying, I should do that, I've always done that, you might say, well, I could get them an Amazon gift card. So sometimes we just have to get rid of the shoulds. So for me, I also sought help for the stress because it was so overwhelming. At one point, when David first started living at the school, the special school, and that school was 10 hours away from me, so I did not see much of David. But it was so important to improving his language skills that he get the help he needed, because public school was definitely not going to work with such significant aphasia. But when he left for school, I started to have panic attacks. So I sought help for the stress because it was so overwhelming. And you too may find that there are times this is so overwhelming. So, like me, you may want to seek help from a physician for that level of stress, or you might want to talk to a psychologist. So, next I'm going to share something that honestly I'm very embarrassed to share. I'm going to share a time that I failed. I failed miserably. I didn't have strategies in place. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. I had anxiety. I wasn't sleeping well. And here we were, David and I, trying to communicate. And David was trying to tell me something. So we did what many of you do. We started with charades, and it just wasn't working. He was getting more frustrated. I was getting more frustrated. He was getting angry. I was unable to cope. And the next thing you know, I grabbed my car keys and I walked out. That was a huge fail. Now, I didn't stay out long, but I did start my car. I did back out of the driveway with tears flowing down my face. And I told myself, Carol, you just left a 10-year-old crying in the house. Get back in there. I was never so ashamed of my behavior because I just lost it. And there might be times you've lost it too. And sometimes we have to realize this has impacted our lives. We're dealing with so much, and sometimes it just really drops us to our knees, which is all the more reason why we must have strategies. We must plan. We must find support. We must make decisions of what we should do and what the priorities are. We need to think about the future in a bright way, knowing that things can and will improve with time, that we will adjust. We'll work as a team because we're partners. We'll analyze what we're doing. Where are we failing? How can we improve? And then I actually looked at David's recovery as probably the biggest project of my life. But we have to plan, find support, make good decisions, look at the future, have teamwork, analyze things, create a project, and develop that strategy. All of those things are needed now. I wish they weren't. I wish I wasn't sharing with you that this aphasia journey is so hard. I wish I had a magic wand. I'm being real here with you, and if you're a care partner, you know that. I'm being real, and these are important issues for you and your loved one to move forward. So, what are some ways that David and I could have succeeded? Well, maybe if I'd handed him a whiteboard, he could have drawn a picture of what he was trying to tell me. He wouldn't have been able to write a word, but maybe he could have drawn a picture. Or maybe I could have pulled out the Oxford Picture Dictionary, which I love. This dictionary is all photos, categorized in a wonderful way, making it easy to find what you're looking for. So that would have been helpful. So I'm going to share another time. So I shared the time I failed because I didn't have a strategy, a plan. I was overwhelmed and stressed. It didn't go well, did it? I walked out. Now, let's take a look at another time where I actually passed and what we can learn from this. So it was Thanksgiving, and I was thinking I should do what I used to do, which was have a great meal. But what I did was I created a plan. Because remember, like we said in the beginning, failing to plan is planning to fail. So I invited fewer people. I had it catered, which for me meant I called the grocery store and ordered the meal. I made sure that there was no music or no television on in the background because we know that many people with aphasia, background noise really is challenging. I also gave a time limit. So instead of having maybe a 6 or 7 hour all day event, I told people, hey, can you drop by for the meal? Come at 12:30. We're going to eat at 1 and we'll wrap up by 3 o'clock or so. So they had a hint that this was not an all-day event. I also found a quiet spot for David. So I let David know that, David, if this gets overwhelming for you, you're welcome to go into this other area of the house. And I let him know that it was okay for him to make the exit. And I also educated the guests. So I let people know, this is David's first Thanksgiving after his aphasia, and we know that it's not impacted his intelligence, but it's harder for him. Now, I could have had a big noisy crowd. I could have said, I'll cook because I can do it all. I could have had music and TV on. I could have expected David to socialize. And my guests could have had no idea what David's communication challenges were. So which one was going to work better? This one or this one? How did we get there? Well, I had a plan, I had a goal, I looked forward, I put the time in, I prioritized. That's the way we find success as care partners. So I also had David partner in this. So I had David help decide on the time. Many people with aphasia find that they may do better in the morning than late afternoon when they're starting to wear down. So a 4 o'clock meal might not be what David wanted, but I empowered him to help make the decision. I let David help decide on the guest list. Who was he comfortable with? Who did he want to see? Because so often as care partners, we're making all the decisions. We need to empower our partners to help with decisions, include them in decision making. That empowers them to build their confidence and move forward. And I didn't let David get off the hook. I had David set the table, fold the napkins, and dust. Those were 3 things that he could do using only one hand. But he participated in the event. I didn't put it all on me. So, what are you going to do the next time you entertain? Plan and strategize, or just let things fall where they may? Keep in mind, there's a way to fail and there's a way to succeed, and we have to think about that and ponder that. Next, we're going to look at some resources that will be valuable to you as a care partner. So one of the resources I mentioned earlier is the National Aphasia Association. Their website is phenomenal, and I love their finder. So I mentioned it earlier where you can put your zip code and see what's available in your local area. And this is how that works. So you can put in the zip code, what are you looking for, or what's your state, and then you can search. So I really encourage you to go to their website, which is aphasia.org. I've mentioned our nonprofit, which is the Aphasia Recovery Connection. So we have the Facebook page, which has the public shareable posts. So if you want to find a spot where you can find things that you can share on your own Facebook timeline, follow our page on Facebook. We also have a Facebook group that is private, where people post and it's very engaging. We have over 10 or 15,000 members. It's very active. So you can follow the page, you can join the group. And the third thing is to join that Care Partners group. It's called ARC Care Partners and Friends, and it is so valuable. You know, if you've had a bad day, it's a great place to go and share with others on the same journey. And if you've had a good day, boy, do I want you to come and share your good day or read through some of the other posts. And when you see somebody struggling, share your own journey. It's a treasure trove of support for Care Partners. I really, really encourage you to join that. Aphasia Recovery Connection also has monthly Care Partner training sessions. So this session is being taught by me, ARC's director, as a care partner. But our Aphasia Friends and Family sessions are taught by Cheryl Paul, who is a speech and language pathologist specializing in aphasia, and this session is phenomenal. Usually at the end, people say things like, I wish I knew what I know now much earlier, because they learned a lot. And Cheryl shares even more resources than we're sharing in this webinar. Then you can also, at the end of that, there's Q&A. So you've got Cheryl and I are there, so you can ask questions of us live. We also have a video that goes out every single week, so be sure to join our email list by going to our website, which is www.aphasiarecoveryconnection.org, and it's an aphasia-friendly video every single week. So there's always a topic, there's always a resource, and we always share upcoming events. So I encourage you to watch that with your loved one as you move forward. So here's the Care Partners group. The Care Partners group has over 35 members. There are care partners there and therapists. You can ask questions. And like I said earlier, if you had a bad day, you may need us. Sometimes you just want to reach out to somebody who gets it, somebody who's walking in your shoes. And if you've had a good day, we may need you. If there's something that's working for you or you have an idea, boy, please share it. That's where we've seen some of the best tips. For example, one of our care partners posted how they keep their weekly schedule on a large whiteboard in their home. And it really helped both the person with aphasia and the care partner to stay focused and to understand. And using a whiteboard was a great way to do it. She could use words on it, but in her case, she could also draw. So for example, a doctor's appointment at 3 o'clock, well, in the old days, we wrote that down. But some of us have loved ones who don't read. So you can draw a clock and put 3 o'clock. You can draw a little doctor or maybe a little cross of, the doctor cross, the little plus sign. But maybe you need to get in the car by 2 o'clock. So you could draw the car, 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock is the doctor's appointment. So your loved one clearly understands. Rather than they're getting in the car, they're not sure where they're going, they're confused, we can do a lot to support them. With the plan, we can do a lot. So I encourage you to join Aphasia Recovery Connection. We really are a great big community. We're a community of support. We started Aphasia Recovery Connection because we get it. Our journey was so horrifically painful and isolating, and my guess is yours is too. And we just wanted to come together and have a community of people with aphasia and care partners. So please join us. So here's an example of something that was on the care partner page. So I posted, do you have a sense of overwhelm? Well, within an hour or so, tons of people were posting and sharing what they felt overwhelmed about. In fact, it was about creating this presentation. If you look at it, it says, I'm creating a presentation about our needs as care partners. So I learn from not only my experience, but I learn from all of you. And this one says, how do you keep a schedule for your loved one? And people posted below and let us know how they do it. So you might see 5, 10, 15 different ideas, or you might want to share your idea, because we all know what works for you is different than somebody else. I'm telling you now, this site, ARC Care Partners and Friends, is a treasure trove. Be sure to join. ARC also does events. So in January 22nd of 2025, we're doing a conference with Jackie Hinckley. We're also doing a cruise in 2025. It's 4 nights out of Tampa. We'll have speech therapists, we'll have graduate students, and it is for couples. We're calling it the Love Boat Cruise. It's for partners on the journey, and that's in January of 2025. It is almost sold out, so please contact me if you're interested. And my email is arcteam, T-E-A-M, at aphasiarecoveryconnection.org. Or you can click the contact button on our website. Another great resource is the Aphasia Institute from our friends up in Toronto, Canada. They have a free download of a yes, no, wrong track card. So if your loved one is real nonverbal or in the beginning, it's so helpful. They also have a great family pamphlet, so you can visit their site at www.aphasia.ca for Canada. Now, Amazon is also an absolutely fabulous resource. So I mentioned the Oxford Picture Dictionary, so that's on Amazon. You might look at some communication boards. Just type in communication boards. You'll see a lot of different examples. You and your loved one can look at them and see which one might be best for you if you need a communication board. And another one of my favorite things is using apps. So there are a lot of apps, but I wanted to share this one because it's one of my favorites and it's only $5. The other reason I wanted to share it, this is the one app that I encourage you as a care partner to have it on your phone and for your loved one to have it on their phone. Why? Well, it starts with this board, which has all the letters and numbers and the yes and no. And as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, you can save it or you can forward it. The other thing, it's got a whiteboard, so you always have a whiteboard handy, because again, one of your strategies should be to always, always, always have the strategies in place. So you're not having fails, you're having successes. And then one of my favorite things about this app, actually probably the favorite thing about the app, for those that can read, is it has a topic board. So how many times have you been playing charades and you are so off topic? They're talking about the doctor's appointment 3 weeks ago, and you think they're talking about going to the restaurant this weekend. You're so off track, and everybody's getting frustrated. But on this topic board, you can find the topic first. So at least you both know you're talking about something medical or the doctor. You're not talking about something social or going out. So for those that can read, that is just a godsend. And again, it's called Alpha Topics. So now let's review what we've learned together this morning. And again, I hope you've taken some notes as you begin to ponder what changes you can make so that you plan to succeed, not plan to fail like I did when I nearly walked out of, well, I did walk out of my house with those car keys. So I can plan my work and work my plan. Yes, you can. I can be more organized. Yes, you can. Setting those priorities. I can commit to learning strategies to reduce stress for both of us. Yes, you can. And I encourage you to come to our friends and family training sessions. I can get rid of the shoulds because life is different now. Yes, you can. There are different ways to do things. Life changed. We need to accept that. Get rid of the shoulds that are weighing you down. I can prioritize tasks, and that includes my own self-care. Yes, you can prioritize and take care of yourself because a burnt out you is a no good you. I can see my partner as a partner, not a patient. Remember my Thanksgiving when I had David help with the time? I had David help with the guest list. And I had David dust and set the table. They're partners, not patients. I can expect my partner to gain independence and help when they can. Yes, you can. I can ask for help from friends or from family or from neighbors or coworkers or my community. And I can ask for help from my loved one. Is there something they could be doing that they're not? For example, especially for those that are one-handed, one of the first tasks I started to have David do was he had to fold all of the washcloths and the dishcloths, just the small ones. That's easily manageable one-handedly. So asking for help from other people, including your loved one. So what can you do this week? So I hope you'll get your pencil ready and set at least one goal, maybe more. Are you going to check the NAA site? Is there local support for you? Are you going to join ARC's Care Partner group? Or maybe put Alpha Topics on my phone and my loved one's phone? Or order the Oxford Picture Dictionary? Can you get rid of at least one should this week? Can you ask for help? Yes, you can. Can I spend time with a friend? So it's your choice. Which way are you going? Do you want to move forward? So as we've gone through the topic together, now's the time for you to reflect and ponder. We've covered a lot, and honestly, it's probably very overwhelming. And for some of you, it might even be a little triggering of a lot of very stressful emotions. This is a hard topic, but we can't just bury what we're going through. Take time for self-care. Reflect and ponder on your journey. So now we want to think about what are your key takeaways. It's going to be different for every one of you. But if you were to write one sentence about what you're taking away from this webinar, what would it be that you want to be sure to remember? So you can take that key takeaway, put it on a Post-it note, and post it. What is your key takeaway? So we went through a lot of ideas and resources, and now it's time for you to be thinking about a plan of action. What's your goal? What's your plan? And what's your action? So it's been great spending time with all of you today. My name is Carol Dow-Richards. I'm the director and founder with my son of the nonprofit Aphasia Recovery Connection. Our email is arcteam@aphasiarecoveryconnection.org. And please visit our website. Be sure to subscribe to our emails so you get our video newsletters at www.aphasiarecoveryconnection.org. You can also check out all of our other resources. We have a free aphasia card on our site, so be sure to go and visit that. So I'm going to close with this. I just ask you to put a Post-it note on your mirror. Well, this is the Post-it note that I kept on my mirror so that I kept moving forward. It's a quote from Helen Keller, and it says, "When one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been open for us." I spent a lot of time on that closed door, a door of grief, of anxiety, of feeling overwhelmed. But once I realized we needed to move forward and I opened the door, there was fresh air. I felt like I can do this, and I turned the corner in my journey as a care partner. And that's my wish for you. So no matter how life goes, life does go on. We have a choice of how we react to the challenges we face. So hold on, hang on, move forward. You've got this, my friend.
Well, Carol, thank you so much. This was really helpful for many. I greatly appreciate your time, and we will have your information on our website. I'd like to say we're getting ready for our next session. Will be session 3, and that will be through the Rhode Island Department of Disability. That will provide a lot of other resources and support that you may need or not know that you qualify for. It's not just for elders, it's not just for children. People that are living with aphasia may have a lot more benefits and support that they weren't aware of. So please attend that next session. And Crystal is really doing her best to get as much information out there for everybody. So please attend. We also will be following up with our final session on the 29th. Sponsored, our guest speaker will be Katie Strong, Dr. Katie Strong, and she'll be talking about how these stories are so empowering and so important for all to see. What I'm hearing today is that maybe some of your care partners aren't motivated or maybe in a funk right now. But if you can attend or have them attend that last session and hear the stories from those surviving with aphasia, not just surviving, they're thriving with aphasia. And there is life living with aphasia. So all of these sessions have been so helpful for many people. And I am happy to say we will be recording it. on our YouTube channel, and we'll let you all know when it is available. I believe Ben said he will have it ready the beginning of July, so thank you. I want to just close it again saying we cannot do this without the support from our sponsors. Department of Health has been amazing the past few years, and we can continue to not charge people to attend these sessions. So thank you to them. And we are affiliate with National Aphasia Association, and they do support us along our journey. So thank you for them. Again, we provide our services such as the Aphasia Social Network groups on Monday night. We have our monthly care partner group. We provide education and resources using our website. I go out and do presentations. And I also present at some of the CEU programs that many of our speech pathologists will attend to learn more from a person with aphasia's point of view. So if you can and you are able, please continue to attend our sessions and continue to support Just Ask so we can continue our services for those care partners, people with aphasia, and all professionals, students and professors. Thank you again, and I'll see you all next Saturday. Be safe.